I got this mug the other day and absolutely had to use it. I can't wait. It's just so cute. I'm nervous. I don't know what to do. Hello, what is up, and welcome to my channel. Hello. Hi. This is my first video on this channel, so I figured I'd start it off with the newbie book tag. I'd figure I'd start off with my first video as the newbie book tag. So yes, let's just get into the questions because I'm really nervous. Why did you start this channel? I'm starting this channel more as a motivation to myself and to others who would like to read more, and who are like just getting back into reading or just getting into reading like for the first time. Because yeah, I really only started getting into reading like these past few years because of Book Talk. So, and I talk about books constantly. Everyone who knows me, like that's all I talk about with them is just books. Especially at work, because everyone that I worked with knows how much I love books, because that's all I would ever talk to them about. And so several of them actually suggested that I start this Booktube channel, or some of them even suggested starting this YouTube channel because of how often I talk about books. I think they were just getting tired of me talking to them about it, and were like, I think you need someone else to talk about this with. Like I said, I'm doing this as like motivation to myself and to others who are like just getting back into reading. Next question, why do you love reading? I like reading things that you cannot, or at least should not, experience in real life, I guess. I like to read a lot of horror and fantasy. Those are my two big genres. I will say I do read more like cozy fantasies than like any other part of fantasy. Like, you know that TikTok sound that's like, you should really try to experience those things in real life. And it's like, I think the F not, and it's like showing like real like horror or like fantasy books, you know, stuff like that. As much as I would love to imagine what it'd be like to fight a vampire, I don't want to experience that in real life. Next up, what book or series got you into reading? The first book I ever remember like really like enjoying and like connecting with was Speak by Lori Halls Anderson. I remember reading that in like either freshman or sophomore year of high school. It was like one of like the required like reading books that we had for that year, and I just remember like really connecting to it with this like kind of like very shy loner girl who was going on, like mentally had a lot going on. Yeah, that was the first book I ever really remember like genuinely enjoying reading. And then when I got back into reading a few years ago, the first book that I like genuinely remember enjoying when getting back into reading was My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otessa Mose, I think. Like I said, I really just like remember really enjoying it. I remember reading the book in like 2 days, I think, and I remember just being like captivated by that story. And interestingly enough, now that I think about it, it's also about a girl who just has a lot going on mentally, kind of loner. So apparently that's my genre of books. It's just mental breakdowns. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Be my friend? Help? Alright, next question. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Honestly, the hardest thing that I think for me will just be like remembering to film and like update you guys like while I'm reading the book, because I actually started like reading a reading vlog earlier this week. It was just like finishing up all of my current reads, and I like just like said kept forgetting to like update you guys, so I basically like read a whole book without talking to you guys about it. So yeah, and I'm sure that'll just like come with time. But yeah, remembering to actually like film and like update you guys while I'm reading. Also, filming like in public. Like actually like going into like Barnes and Noble and like filming a cute like book shopping video. Because I tried to do it the other day and there were so many people. Like I feel like every time I like went around a corner, I was like in a quiet enough space where like no one was around, I could like pull my phone out to film, someone immediately just like came around the corner and like stood there for so long. So yeah, I think those would be my biggest two issues, is just remembering to film and not getting embarrassed about filming. Next question: when did you start reading? I actually hated reading as a kid. Well, I didn't hate it, it's just I have like really bad ADHD. When I was a kid, it was so bad, and I just like couldn't like sit still and like calm myself for long enough to actually like read honestly a paragraph, let alone a full book. So it wasn't really until I got like older and started like learning like how to manage it and stuff that I got back into reading and was able to like calm myself and like calm my body. I still can't read for like more than like 20 minutes at a time before I need to like eventually get up and like at least like do a lap around my apartment or something and then sit back down and continue reading. But yeah. Next question is, where do you read? Pretty much anywhere. I read a lot in my room. I read a lot in bed. I love to just like curl up in bed and read. I also do love being outside, like out on my deck and reading. I love that. Just like being outside in the fresh air. I also have to I do not own a car. I take public transportation, and it's usually a long time that I have to be on the bus or something. It's usually like 45 minutes to an hour. So yeah, reading on the bus. Sometimes, because I do get a little motion sickness when I read on the bus. But if I'm not feeling too bad, then I'll pull out my book and start reading. What kind of books do you like to read? Like I said, I really love horror. I like cozy fantasy of like being in like, one of my favorite books is The Tea Dragon Society. It's like a middle grade graphic novel. It's about these two little kids and this like old guy and his husband just like teach them how to make tea. Like, it's the cutest thing ever. I love those books. And like any sort of other like cozy like graphic novels like that. Like Heartstopper. Absolutely love Heartstopper. In the last two that came out, I read them like in a day. Not both of them in a day, but like each book like in a day. Just like went through it because I love them so much. They're so sweet. I love the TV show. I've cried multiple times while watching that show. I cannot wait for season 3. So yes. So yes, horror, cozy fantasy. I do like to read like fantasy typically in the falls when I read fantasy, fall and spring the most. Yeah, and then still like those are like the main two genres that I like to read. I will read like almost any genre, or at least like try it out, because I do have at least one book I think from like a fair amount of genres. I do have like a few nonfiction, some romance, fantasy, horror, like literary fiction, YA books, And then I have like a section here of like classic novels, and then I also have this like whole half a shelf for like Greek mythology type stuff, because I've always been very interested in Greek mythology, or like any sort of like fantasy or like lore. Love learning about that. Yeah, I also noticed it's gotten progressively darker throughout the video, because I did choose to start filming at like 6 o'clock. So yeah, I think those are all the questions that I have. So yes, that was my first video. That was my newbie book talk tag. Hope you guys stick around and come back for the next video. Alright, it is the next day. I decided to wait until this morning to show you guys my bookshelves, just so you guys could see them a little better, because it was pretty dark by the time I was done filming yesterday. So here are my bookshelves. Alright, so here is an overview of my bookshelves. I have them separated by genres and then alphabetically. I won't go like too into it because I did just reorganize that. That'll actually be in the video, pretty soon. I'll just give you an overview because I like to also keep my shelves kind of decorated as well. I have some plants. And then, oh yeah, I also have this bookshelf up here as well. That one kind of holds like all of like, it's a mix of like my favorite books, and I feel like the ones that best like represent my readings, my different reading genres, and like my immediate TBR is kind of that space right there. But yes, and then I also have a vision board for 2024 that I did with a friend, and then this very big suit. Like I've mentioned this, I talk about this all the time. I will talk about it again endlessly, but I'm a very big fan of the TV show Supernatural, and when that show ended, they did this like special like book that was like a bunch of like photos from all of the sets that they had done, and they had sold it. Originally it was supposed to be just for like the cast and crew of the show. Then they sold like 100 copies of it on Insider Edition, and then that sold out immediately. So then they did a pre-order for it. It was like a 24-hour pre-order. I'm like, whoever got it got it. So that is what this is, and it's just a bunch of different photos of sets of the show throughout the year. Whoops. And a bunch of different scenes. But yes, so I just keep it like each day I'll turn to a new page. So yes, that was my Booktube Newbie Tag. That was my first video on this channel. Hope you guys liked it. Hopefully you guys stick around for the next one. Bye!